Hey there. I am so excited to announce that my new book, The Divine Union of the Masculine and Feminine, is now available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. In the fall, I will record the audiobook and it will also be uploaded to various places so that it can be ordered in libraries and local stores and things like that. But right now, it is available in paperback and ebook, and I'm so excited. I ordered my author's copy, and so it has a funny white line in the middle of it, which says, that makes sure I don't sell it because it's just a special author's copy. So it doesn't actually have this line in it. But it is so exciting to actually see see it all here. And it's about 300 pages, and I'm just so excited. One of the things I want to mention is this cover design. This cover design was painted by a woman named Gina Murray, and she does incredible art. And when she approached me to ask if she could paint it, I thought, wow, what a thing for us to do together, for her to actually envision what I might want as a cover for my book, because writing a book is really personal. And the idea of someone who's an artist sort of drawing from the ethers and coming out with what we desired, that's quite a feat. And she went above and beyond what I imagined, to the point that I actually want to talk about the cover for a moment. Now, when you see the yin yang symbol in the center, I always saw a yin yang symbol. But this is one of the things that really tells us a lot about what this book is about, because you can see that the yin and yang is moving. The yin is actually moving into the yang, and the yang is moving into the yin. And this is something that I always saw in my mind. I always saw that the yin yang symbol isn't just a flat two-dimensional picture. I always pictured them as being dynamic and flowing into each other. And so when she and I first started talking about it, I mentioned this to her. I said, do you think it'd be possible to, depict that? And she went through many different ideas and thoughts and inspiration, and this is what she came up with. And when this book cover was actually created, suddenly I understood my own book better, because she had actually read the manuscript while she was painting. And so all the layers that were under this are all part of it. And it was very interesting. And I mention that to you because I want to talk about the book, because that's really significant, the layers and the movement of the masculine and feminine. So if you have been part of the Tantra world for a while, or various spiritual paths, you might have heard of this divine union, or the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the dance and what's possible, the merging of duality into oneness and all that kind of thing. Those might be words that you're used to. In which case, the fact that this book exists, again, without the funny white line, this book literally came out 2 days ago, and I just wanted to have an author's copy, so it's the only version I have right now on me. More to come. But for anyone who is accustomed to this thought, this book makes a lot of sense, especially in this time in society, in this time of the world. This union, this connection, this true merging of souls, this true merging of our own soul is just part of that journey. But that isn't everyone's reality. There's a lot of people, I talk about my book, and they say, oh, what's your book about? And I say, oh, it's the divine union of the masculine and feminine. And, they kind of look at me like, what does that actually mean? We understand all the words, but why is that interesting? Or why is that something that's worthy of a book, that's this thick, So what's interesting about the masculine and feminine is that this book is all about redefining what this even means. Because oftentimes we just think of masculine as being male and feminine as being female. And that it's just sort of that the masculine and feminine ideas were just really gender stereotypes. men were big and strong and warrior like, and women were demure and weak and emotional or something like that, right? These aren't really helpful. It's not helpful to say that person has muscles and that person has big boobs, or that person is stoic and that person's really emotional. It just almost creates more separation in life. So we are redefining the masculine and feminine, because the masculine and feminine energies, and I'm not talking about gender or orientation or anything like that, the masculine and feminine energies are what create all connection in our lives, right? If we're just two neutral parties, we don't connect. We might sit on a park bench and hang out, but we don't connect. It isn't until one person takes the masculine and starts to speak. And if we want to have connection, the other must take the feminine and receive and listen. And now a connection will happen. This is the nature of all of our connections. Maybe the masculine is the protector and the feminine is the vulnerable, which could look like the vulnerable could be you having a hard day and calling a friend and having a friend that's that shoulder to cry on. That creates connection. It could be being hungry and a parent saying, well, here, I'll make you a sandwich. This giving and receiving that creates union, that creates connection. It could be the passion of romance, where one partner pursues the other and brings flowers and woos them, and chivalry. And we actually talk about chivalry in this book because it's a real thing that creates magnetism between people. And that magnetism is based on the opposites attracting. The masculine and feminine, not gender. This is for everybody. It's the energy within that attract. Two masculines bounce off of each other like two positive poles of a magnet, and two feminines do nothing, like two negative poles of a magnet. This is why the three-dimensional moving yin-yang symbol is so important, because it's not just the flat concept of the yin and yang. And the yin and yang is brilliant, and it has a million wonderful places to look at, that we can look at it. But what we're talking about in masculine and feminine is the dance, the movement of these opposite polarities that are complementary, that are completely different. They're not just one version of the other. They are completely opposite, like two ends of a magnet. And when they start to dance, a magnetism happens, and excitement happens, and dynamic relationships happen. And that is what's possible. And this is possible in all of our relationships. In our relationships with our intimate partners, with our children, with our parents, with our friends, with our colleagues, with our neighbors. It's possible within us, where our own masculine and feminine dance together, constantly pursuing our own mystery, creating and manifesting new things in the world as our masculine and feminine talk and listen and receive and do all these wonderful things that create wholeness and oneness within us, that create happiness in us, regardless of whether we're in a relationship or what our circumstances are, because we have this entire world inside of us that is dancing. It creates oneness with us and our environment, with God, with consciousness, with the mountains, with the ocean. It allows us to actually connect in that way and have a dynamic relationship with the world around us. So this idea often really kind of feels like a lot, right? Which is why it's a big book. And to be honest, I could have written twice as much. I could talk about this, and I will be in subsequent courses and offerings, and all kinds of things will be building upon this book. But we needed this foundation to get started. And part of that foundation is understanding why relationships haven't always been like this. Why has it been hard to connect with each other? Why do relationships fall apart? Why does the spark go out of intimate relationships? Why are family dynamics so difficult? When in my groups that I work with, we often call our families of origin the gene pool we came out of, because the relationships are so strained and so difficult. Why is that? They should be the place where we feel most loved and most safe. And this is a big part of the book, and it's a big part of why this is so important right now in the changing consciousness in the world. Because we are coming out of a time that we have lived in a domination paradigm, a paradigm of separation, where it is not only normal to be completely separate and islands unto ourselves. We've lived in a time where we need to dominate each other. And perhaps it's because we've been dominated for the last couple thousand years. We've lived with royalty concepts and elite stratus and all these kind of things, and governments that control the people, as opposed to being one with the people, as opposed to serving the people. Our schools are set up this way. Our family dynamics are set up this way, that somebody's in charge and someone's being dominated. But this is a separation, domination paradigm. And this is absolutely important to look at, because that is inside of all of our relationships. That someone's always afraid of being controlled. Someone's afraid of controlling because they've been so heavily controlled. And this keeps all of our relationships at a distance. All of the dynamics that we will talk about in this book, we've all experienced, but we've experienced them in separation. Which is why, at a very core level, we're actually very afraid to connect on that deep, deep level. And what's really crazy is we can see it in our relationships in the world. But the number one place these domination and separation paradigm, where they really exist, it's inside. How often does our own inner masculine dominate and oppress our own feminine, our emotions, our truth, our bodies? How often do we treat our bodies like plasticine to be molded, no matter at whatever cost? So this exists inside. So all of these beautiful dynamics that could bring us to such union, we can't even have it within us because of these paradigms. And then it's the same with the world. How often do we even see God, whatever word makes sense to you, as an oppressor, as a judge and jury? Well, how do we possibly feel one with the universe, one with nature, one with our consciousness, one with our existence, if we have this domination paradigm in the whole world around us? So that's why I am so excited to bring this book out into the world and take it all the places it's going to go. Because this is what we seek. We seek real connection. We seek wholeness inside. We want to feel happy. We want to be able to bring that happiness out into our relationships, because we are social creatures. It's almost like deep down we know we can bond with another person. We know that we can actually be vulnerable. But because of this paradigm that we've lived in, we're so afraid at a very deep level. And once we actually, even if we get rid of the domination and the separation, how we understand the masculine feminine dynamic, which are just simply the two parts of duality, right? That's all it is. It's the two ends of the magnet. We are magnetic creatures. We are atoms held together by magnetism. This is a real thing. It's not even flaky, right? And we are attracted in the same way. But if we don't understand the nature of this polarity, of this magnetism within connection, we don't even understand how to get there. And that's what this book is all about. Redefining that polarity, redefining that duality. So we actually have the words to discuss this with our loved ones, to discuss it with ourselves in our journaling or our counselor or our friends. So we can actually go, oh, that's why we're struggling. I get it. And then we can work on it. Because when we all actually want to be connected, when we all actually want to have union, amazing things can happen. So I'm very excited for my book to be out in the world and live. I would love for you to purchase your copy, paperback, ebook, and if you like it, definitely please give it a rating anywhere you can find, whether it's on Goodreads or on Amazon in Chapters or wherever you find it, because that really helps other people find it. And it's really time right now. Imagine if everybody in the world could drop the domination, drop the separation, redefine the masculine and feminine, understand connection. I really believe that's where we're going. So I'm very, very excited about this. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you get your copy of my book. And if you want to study more, if you want to dive deeper within, definitely join my email list at katrinaboss.ca. There'll be lots of new courses and new offerings, some live, some do-it-yourself, kind of, you can do it at your own time courses, where we really get to dive deeply into this and connect with others around the world who are also wanting to study this and dive deep. So I look forward to hearing from you. I'm just so excited about this baby being born and seeing where she goes out in the world. I hope you have a wonderful